Good afternoon, everybody. This is Reverend Kit Holmes. It is Wednesday once again. So that means it is time for One Mind Wednesday. It is Wednesday, February 8th, 2023. The topic that I have in this post today is you got to have faith. If you're, I'm dating myself here by talking about that title of a George Michael song from a number of years ago. And it just is appropriate to bring in a song title. When I came to you last week, I was outdoors in Central Texas at the beginning of what became a pretty severe ice storm in this area. And I know other areas of the country that cold front moved into the Northeast, and epic low temperatures in places like Vermont, just things that have never been recorded before. And I had faith last week that we were going to weather this pretty well. And we did. And I'm here to tell the tale, and it turned out to be something much greater than anyone really could have predicted. It's going to be bad, yes, and then you brace and you prepare and you do all those things. I know that I practice regularly putting my faith in the idea that everything is always working out in my favor. I've shared that here often, and you'll hear me do it often as well, because it is an affirmation that I know works for me. But here's the thing, this is also what I talk about often, is we can do that when circumstances and conditions and appearances might indicate otherwise. This last week particularly, the earthquake in Syria, Turkey, devastating, the literal ground shaking beneath the feet of those who live in that area. And we're all affected by it. That earth core that is always shifting, always moving, we're not immune from the effects of it anywhere on this planet because we all live on this planet. So putting our faith somewhere in that things that are always working out in our favor. The question that I always come back to about faith when people ask me about faith, my question is, what is the belief behind it? For example, people put faith in the stock market. They put faith in the amount of money in their bank account as an indication or a measurement of what makes them feel secure. Not right or wrong in that. Some people put their faith in a gun as something that will protect them from any kind of harm. In perspective, that can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. If you live in a wild area, having a gun sometimes is a means to protecting yourself from something, survival, that will keep you alive. We know there's balance. There's always balance in where we put our faith. So the question becomes, what is the belief behind it? What is the belief that says, I feel unsafe? What is the belief that says, I need something outside of myself that will give me a sense of security? So when the ground literally shakes beneath our feet, whether it's metaphorical or literal, we've got to have faith somewhere. We've got to have some place that we put our belief that says, I'm protected. I am going to be fine. This One Mind Wednesday is about getting in touch with, practicing being in touch with that one mind that has all of the safety, all of the protection, all of the answers that help us to do that. When we lean into our spiritual practice of knowing we are never separate from that source that is constantly expressing through us and as us, when we lean into that practice, we are much more nimble at adjusting and going with the flow. For example, the ice storm last week, without power for 4 days, very inconvenient, of course, and throughout the whole process was things are always working out in my favor. I had a large event scheduled last week, an art and music show that had to be postponed and rescheduled. And all of the frustration, and I got off-centered in all of those places where I lost track of the fact that everything is always working in my favor. Once I got recentered, once I stopped and took a breath and backed up and leaned into my practice, as it turns out, something much greater is unfolding this coming weekend. So my invitation to you this week on One Mind Wednesdays, number one, of course, to put our prayers and anything that we can do, that we know that we can do, to put our energy into supporting, sending comfort, sending aid, whatever it might be, to the people of Turkey and Syria as they go through this horrendous grieving process of the loss of so many lives so quickly. But also to know all those places in the world that need our consciousness of knowing we can send that love and support. We can beam that energy out of love and know that there is something for each one of us to do. Number 2 is to lean into that question. What is the belief that I have behind my faith, where I'm putting my faith in an institution or a person that may not be healthy for us, or a situation that may not be healthy for us? What is the belief behind it? It usually comes down to a fear. It's a little bit of work. I invite you to lean into it and be gentle with yourself as you're exploring the answers. And number 3, continue to do that practice of knowing we are all part of that one mind. We are not ever separate from our source, and everything is indeed always working out in our favor, despite appearances, conditions, and circumstances. Might not be pleasant, might not be easy, and that affirmation will keep us nimble and able to pivot and focus and reshift and find our creative energy to find the solutions to those changes that are always happening every day in our lives. So with that, I wish you a good Wednesday. I remind you that we are all a part of the one mind, which means we're all in this together. So kindness is key. Love, always number 1. Have a great week. I will see you again 1 p.m. Eastern Time next Wednesday for One Mind Wednesdays. This is Reverend Kit Holmes. Have an awesome week. Love you all dearly.